Welcome to another episode of A Brother with Questions. I am your host. Thank y'all for joining me tonight, man. This is a little bonus episode for me. I usually drop on Mondays and Thursdays. I appreciate you for tuning in, listening. But I just had to jump in to speak on what's happening or what happened in Jacksonville, Florida. I'm from the state. I live in the state. I've been watching a lot of things. And I just felt like I need to say something about this. My wife asked me last night. She asked me what I thought about it, and I honestly I was like, I hadn't really thought too much, but then I started doing some research about what was going on and some of the frustrations that people were talking about, and I was like, you know what? I think I do have something to say about this. So here's where I'm at. Here is where I'm at with it. Obviously, it was a tragedy. Okay, three black people were killed senselessly in a Dollar General store in Jacksonville, Florida. So if you haven't heard about it, a Dollar General store in Jacksonville, Florida, a young white man came in and shot three random black people for what we are now apparently learning is because he apparently, for whatever his reasons are, he did not like black people and decided that day, or I think it happened a couple days ago, like I said, was the day he was going to go and randomly kill some black people. And so, my hearts and prayers go out to the family, in this time. And, there's nothing positive or, to say about the situation. Situation is just sad that an individual took the day to do that to those families. But where, for me, what I wanted to speak on was the reactions that have been going on. And so the first thing that caught my attention was, rightfully so, in my opinion, Governor DeSantis came down to speak to people and the family of this tragedy at a rally or that they were having. And he expressed his sympathy and condolences to the family. He acknowledged that it was a senseless tragedy. And in the process, he was booed. And later on, one of the congressmen that was there talked even about how she felt it was almost disrespectful that he showed up to speak on behalf of the state, the governor's office. And that's when I was like, wait a minute. Like, a tragedy happens in the state, a tragedy such as this, tragedy based, from all intents and purposes, seems to be based on hate. And I think the governor should have shown up. He did show up. He offered his condolences. He acknowledged the fact that it was a senseless killing. And now, from one, they booed him when he showed up, as if, why are you here? And then number two, they're like, and then for the congressman to be like, he could have stayed home. I'm just going like, what do y'all want? What is it that y'all expect to happen? Okay. Okay, I get it. In the eyes of most black people, Ron DeSantis is not their favorite guy. They're certainly not their favorite governor. And so I get that. But what does any of that have to do with what has happened in this particular situation with this senseless tragedy? I think we should all be able to put that to the side for a moment and let's deal and be there for this family in their time of need and put all this mess about really, we're just arguing about policy, and we're all welcome to disagree on policy. I'm not here to say you got to like everything the man did, but come on. At what point do we drop the game and just deal with the family for a moment? Quite frankly, had he not shown up, y'all would have been mad about that too. So you're mad if he do show up. You would have been mad if he didn't show up. What do y'all want? It doesn't make any sense to me that we're mad at a governor who made some policy decisions. So what? He got rid of he disagreed with an AP course. Okay, whatever. I thought it was trash too, so I'm good on that. So he disagreed with some funding issues. Like, okay, happens. This is government. This is policy. We're not always going to agree on these things. But if we can't come together in a time where tragedy has struck the country, a city, what are we doing? Can we just be honest here for a moment? I went and did some research. I just know Jacksonville because I figured let's keep it small. Let's keep it small. Let's not even go big. Let's keep it small. And so in Jacksonville in the last year, they have had approximately, when I was looking at some of the city statistics, it looks like they had about 72 homicides in the last year, well, this year so far. And the 3 people that were killed in this couple of days ago, they're included in the 72. So I separated out for race. And taking out the 3, and that happened as a result of this hate crime. Yes, I'm calling it a hate crime. There were 56 others, Black people, killed in the city this year. 72, 56. I'm going to say it one more time. 72 total, 56 Black people. But because this particular one now is racial, number one, it seems to take precedence, right? It's the only one we seem to care about right now. It has gotten national news. The whole country is talking about it. The president has mentioned it and referenced it yet again as being, can't remember his exact words, but he's referenced it as being a par for the course, if you will, right? Racists doing what they do to Black people. And I can only imagine if we give him enough time, he's going to make this and remind Black people that this is why you should be voting for Biden, because, the country's racist and Biden is the only one trying to get rid of the racists from the country. That's the part that saddens me about this, man. We can't even take the time to let these families deal with their tragedy, begin the process of healing before we start running the train on, see, this is the racism that we're talking about in this country. The idea that Black folks now got to be scared to go in Dollar Generals, otherwise, maybe the next white guy is going to kill them. Rather than just deal in this moment. Because the truth is, this guy was evil. I'm calling him evil. This guy was bad. This guy was a hate monger. He was everything you want to name in the book. But he was a guy. He wasn't a country. This guy was a guy. He wasn't a country. We don't have to turn every hatred, every individual that displays hatred as the country. That's a decision. It's not a truth. Because if it was true, we wouldn't have one of these every blue moon. If the country's as racist as we like to play, like as they like to talk about it, this would be happening every day. We had these once a week. But we had it once this year that I can think of. But we're going to act like this is it. This is why. See, this is all Ron DeSantis' fault. Had he just let the African American history course, and had he just gave the funding, you wouldn't be in this situation. Yes, we would. You don't get rid of the racism in this country in a stroke of a dime, in a stroke. It might be another 100 years before you can, quote unquote, say that racism doesn't exist in this country. My personal belief is I don't think it will ever happen, because you always got remnants, right? You don't know what's happening in people's homes. You always got remnants. But the truth is, whether the remnants are here, it's still a moment. It's not the year. It's not a reminder of everything that's happened in history. I don't need a reminder of everything that's happened in history. I know what happened in history. Trust me, it's implanted in my brain. I got it. But this incident is not a reminder of that. This incident is a moment in 2023 that was very sad, and we should deal with it. But we should not turn it into the rallying cry as to why you shouldn't be voting for Trump, or you shouldn't be voting for Ron DeSantis, or whomever else you want to blame for this tragedy. Because the truth is, there's only one person to blame. And I forgot his name, but let me find out real quick. Because let me call him out so that we can remind ourselves who is to blame. And we can stop pretending as if men who speak from offices that most people will never know, men who the majority of y'all will never meet in life, men who your only real acknowledgement of who they are comes from a press conference that they've had. Can we quit pretending like they're the problem? The problem is Ryan Christopher Palmeter. And maybe that's not how you say his last name, but that's his name. Ryan Christopher Palmeter. He's the problem. It's not what somebody said, because he didn't need to be inspired by anybody. You don't hate because you were inspired by somebody. You hate because that's who you are. You hate because of whatever reasons you want to put on the toast today. But can we stop pretending? Because it's somebody said, had he just endorsed the African American history course, we wouldn't be in this situation. What? You think this man was killing people because we didn't get a history course? Are you kidding me right now? It's that foolishness. And I just had to come on here and say that, man. Let's blame the people. Let's blame the man who did this. And stop pretending like it's the rhetoric that brought us here. Ain't no rhetoric brought us here. And this man wasn't even alive when real racism was happening, and this is how he felt. He probably, they got pictures of his brother online, halfway trying to look like a black person. But you talking about Ron DeSantis? The man was living with somebody that apparently looked like act like he wanted to be black. Got all the tropes of what they would say black culture represents. And we talking about, yeah, the governor. Can we stop playing these games with each other, man? And let a moment be a moment. Let a family mourn their losses and not turn everything into the rallying cry for the next election. That's unfair to those people who are mourning loss right now. I'd imagine on some level they appreciated the fact that the governor showed up to say whatever he had to say. No different than the people in Hawaii. Now, they was mad when he left because he only promised them $700, but I assume they in some level they appreciated the fact that he came, especially when in the same city, 56 other people have died. Black people have died. And I ain't heard this story yet. I don't know their names. There wasn't a press conference, except maybe what happened locally. Certainly wasn't a national conversation about it. I'm done. Like and subscribe to the channel, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, man. I appreciate y'all. I don't know what y'all gonna think after this podcast about me, man. But I'm just gonna remind y'all, I love you. Hey, man, this B period, man. I'm out, man. Thank y'all.